Hi, Curtis.
Hiromi, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Awesome, awesome. Yep. We're going to get started. We have a good amount of people on, and we want to make sure we respect everybody's time. I hope they're excited, man, because we have a lot of great information to share with them. So I hope they're excited.
Yeah, me too. There's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot, a lot, a lot. Give me 1 second. Well, the time is how's it going, everybody? My name is Curtis J. Man, I'm so excited for you guys to be on. You are in for a treat. So I want to make sure, housekeeping before we jump and get started, I want to make sure you have your background clear. You're away from distractions. I know many of you are at home right now, but I do want to say, make sure you get out a notepad or a recorder or whatever you use, or using your phone right now, because a lot of information, we're going to break it down into easy, understandable terms that you can digest and then take action. And so that's our ultimate objective with this webinar right now, is to give you real information, real knowledge, leveraged by real expertise. And so we're going to get started in about 30 more seconds here. So to everyone that's here and on time, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're going to get started about 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Everything set up here. All right. All right, let's jump straight into it. Jump straight into it. Thank you, everyone who's on this call. We're going to make sure we don't just inundate you guys with a bunch of jargon. We're going to actually break all of this information down for you in the understandable terms, so you can go ahead and take action, like right away. Once you get off of this call, we'll go ahead and take action right away. So before I get started, I am Curtis J. Williams. I go by Curtis J. We also have Hiromi on with us. Me personally, a little bit about myself before we jump into it. Let's keep it real short and simple. I am a wealth advisor based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I have a keen background in dealing with entertainment professionals, high net worth individuals, and self-employed and business owners. Me, myself, coming from a business background, I actually serve as a chairman of my own entertainment holding firm. And I'm happy to say, to this day, all the entities that we own, 50% are still in the entertainment sector. I'm excited about that. And that's what actually led me into my path from business into the financial world, where I actually fell in love, and now I run and operate a thriving financial firm called Legacy Movement. So that's a little bit about myself right now, but I'm really, really passionate, and you're going to see that passion about bringing knowledge to individuals so that they can take that knowledge and make actionable steps and build wealth in their business, in their lives, and their families' lives as well. So, Hiromi, you want to say anything? Introduce yourself real quick before you jump in and get started.
Sure. My name is Hiromi. Thank you so much for joining. There's a lot of people on this webinar, which is so exciting. And it shows that everyone here is very excited to learn more about accounting and taxes, which is so odd for me. My name is Hiromi Usui. I live in Georgia, but I originally came from Chicago. I'm a CPA. Right now, I own a firm called Professional Tax Planning. I used to work for one of the big four and used to be an auditor for financial statements. So now I'm focusing on helping others on how to understand the tax code and also learning how to read financial statements and how to apply them when you're trying to look for a loan. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So together we make a dynamic team. I'm talking about dynamic. I hope you guys can see that. Like I said, so we're going ahead and jump right into it. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize myself so you can actually just see the actual information here. Give me 1 second. All right, so right now we're talking about your money. All right, we're talking about the stimulus bill that just recently passed. We're calling it 1.0. Why is it 1.0? Simply because, hey, we're gonna have to host multiple webinars. Why? This is a live thing, okay? Meaning that, hey, every single day the government is putting out new stipulations on how they're gonna roll this out and how it's gonna be implemented, and that therefore impacts you and how you benefit from it. So we wanna make sure you have the knowledge and you're empowered with the resources and tools to take advantage, all right, to put yourself and your business in position to benefit, all right? Because right now, as you guys know, we're dealing with unprecedented times right now. We've never been through anything of this nature right now. So it's important and paramount that we put knowledge at our forefront. So as we go ahead and jump right on into it, what are some of our topics right now? On this 1.0, we're going to touch on the topics of individual benefits, okay? We're going to talk about how this benefits the individual themselves. Also, student loans. That's a big topic. I got a lot of emails about that. Yes, there's an issue dealing with student loans. Also, there are some changes to retirement accounts that you need to be made aware of. Also, we're going to talk about money for business owners and self-employed individuals, and also a highly important topic, the PPP versus the EIDL. Which one? Which is best? Can you get both? We're going to answer all those questions and more. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we talk about the COVID-19 tax law overview. So pretty much, I'm going to be going over this information. Like I said, we're going to break it down. We understand that most of the jargon is like legal jargon, and you have to be some type of high level CPA or high level wealth advisor like myself to kind of understand it. So what we've done is that we've gone in, and that's what we specialize in, gone in and said, hey, let us understand it, and now let's break it down in information that can be easily digested so people can take action. And so we're going to go over the timeline, what's been going on with the laws and when they're enacting them and when are they active. All right. We're also going to talk about the CARE Act itself. All right. In the 5 areas of change, talk about the individual provisions, the funding sources, the business provisions, and the stimulus. I know a lot of people were asking and emailing about the stimulus rebate. Okay. So let's jump right into it. The timeline. So here's the actual entire timeline of important dates. All right. As you guys know, on March 13th, a national emergency was actually declared. All right, March 13th. And then from there, March 18th, we had the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. That was the first initiative to go out and help businesses and those employers, okay? Here, what we're gonna discuss on this webinar, all right, starting with March 27th, all right, which is the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, AKA the CARES Act, okay? So that's what we're gonna talk about on this webinar. So here on your screen here. And like I said, make sure, feel free. We are going to send this webinar out, but if you need to screenshot something, go ahead. All right. So let's start in this first block here. As you know, we have an asterisk by this number because this number is growing by the day. So right now we're looking at an unprecedented 6 million people who have filed for unemployment. 6 million people. Okay. And so now it's like, well, where does the CARE Act come in with that? They're providing unemployment benefits, which we're going to talk about and break down, and also funding solutions, which I have Hiromi on. She's going to break that down. So with unemployment benefits, as you can see, they're covering 105%. All right. And they're also extending the benefits. And I'm going to break that down, what that actually means. All right. Also, we have the stimulus that has been enacted. Many of you guys know from the media. So you guys understand the media is going to harp on one or two aspects of the CARE Act. Okay. Because they're reporters and they're reporting to the masses. So they want to make sure they understand maybe one aspect. And one thing is with the stimulus. And what is a stimulus? We'll go a deeper dive into it. But that's the check that many people are waiting on, the $1,200 to $2,400, depending on how much you make. We'll get into that. Also, there's many, many business provisions. All right. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so thankful that you guys are on this webinar because you're going to hear, some great knowledge. But this is an amazing act if you're a business owner. I'm talking about unprecedented. So definitely, if you're in business, make sure you stay on to the end of this webinar here. So let's jump straight into it. Unemployment benefits. I know many people right now, no fault of their own, have now been forced into unemployment, laid off, furloughed. I understand. And so now more than ever, this act was brought in to say, hey, we understand it wasn't your problem, but here we're going to actually help out. So if you look at number one, covered individuals. Yes, it includes those individuals who were laid off, who are earning income. It also now includes also self-employed people or underemployed. All right. So now before, if you think about, they call it, the gig entities or the gig individuals, the gig economy, they say, or those independent contractors, 1099, those individuals who also were not normally be covered, all right, under unemployment. Well, guess what? Now they'll be covered. Also, let's look at number two. The government's also said that, hey, once you get approved for unemployment, whatever that amount is by your state, all right, I know this is a large webinar and many people are different states, but it's just in general terms, whatever you're approved for in your state, on top of that amount, you're also going to receive $600 from this act. Okay, you're going to receive an additional $600. So yes, if you're got your wheels turning in your head, if you're receiving $350, is that what you get approved for? If you're receiving $350 per week, now you would get an additional $600 on top of that. Okay, yeah, let that sink in. So that means you'll be bringing in $950 a week. Okay, $950 a week. Now let's jump down to number three. All right, limitation on duration. It is able to go right now up to 39 weeks. Okay, 39 weeks, including time worker received compensation and or benefits. Also, it's also extending benefits as well because of this act. So if you look here, number four, we've already placed it for you. You're going to get an additional 13 weeks, all right, of pandemic support, all right? 13 additional weeks, okay? So now that's super, super important. It's super, super, super important. So we're going to touch on it a little more as well. So I'm going to go down a little bit more. The PUA, or the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. This is very, very important because a lot of individuals now are reaching out to us and they're saying, well, hey, I'm 1099. I'm an independent contractor. But when I go on my state website to complete, all right, the application, whether you're in Wisconsin or you're in Georgia or Florida, I don't see options for me as an independent contractor. You are correct. All right. You are correct. The states are still having to catch up. So actually just today, this morning, all right, a press release was actually pushed out. And so what's happening is that they're receiving the funds for the regular unemployment option for people who are regular unemployed. But for that gig economy that I talked about, that 1099, that self-employed, the states are having to put together a platform to support that. And so that portion is going to be called the pandemic unemployment assistance. So those are going to be providing those benefits for those individuals who are self-employed or seeking part-time employment or who otherwise wouldn't qualify, all right, for unemployment benefits under state or federal law. All right. So that's super, super important. So right now, if you're flustered or you're like, well, what do I do? Hey, right now, pause. Okay. Keep checking your state's website, but they haven't enacted that option for you just yet. However, here's a tidbit. Still go ahead and apply the regular way through your state. All right. Yes, you may be denied, of course. However, at least your application will already be in and information will already be in, because right now states are getting inundated with massive, massive traffic that they're not prepared for. Okay. So at least you want to be able to get your stuff in going forward. Okay, great. Also, there's some individual provisions. Individual provisions. Let's talk about your retirement accounts. I know many individuals have various retirement accounts, from your 401 Section Ks, your 403 Section Bs, your IRAs, etc. Okay, there are some retirement account changes. So first change I want to talk about and discuss is that there is now no required minimum distribution for tax year 2020. For those individuals that are familiar with it and those that are not, pretty much you have what's called required minimum distribution on any qualified retirement plan. All right. You have to be, once you hit 72, age 72, it says that you have to start taking what's called required minimum distributions. If not, the government says they're going to tax you 50%. So what they're saying is that those individuals who would have reached the required minimum distribution for this year, they now no longer have to worry about that. They're waiving it. Okay. Also, this is super, super important. 401k loans have now been expanded. They used to be $50,000. Well, now they have been expanded to $100,000 because they want to make sure that you have resources, financial resources available to you if you've been significantly impacted. All right. If you've been significantly impacted due to anything dealing with the coronavirus, they want to make sure you can get access to that money. Also, they're waiving, all right, the 10% penalty. They're waiving the 10% penalty. So that 10% penalty applied to individuals who were 59 or under 59 and a half. Okay, so their age under 59 and a half used to get hit with a 10% penalty. Well, now they're waiving that penalty. Also, super, super, super important before I go to the next one. With your retirement account, also, they are also giving you that 3-year period of no tax penalty. So what does that mean? Now they're saying that, hey, you can go in, all right, and take out money from your 401k, your IRA, and you have 3 years, okay? You have 3 years to pay that money back. You have 3 years to pay that money back without any tax consequences. All right. Now, also, I will pause right here and tell you guys, like I said, if you don't catch something, no problem. We will also send this out, this recording out, and we also will send out some FAQs as well to go over everything we talked about, because we want to make sure you have all the information and nothing's left out at all. So you have 3 years to repay that money. So say, for instance, you take out $50,000 because you have to take care of financial hardships. They're not going to be subject to any type of tax penalty as long as you pay it back within the 3 years. All right. As long as you pay it back within the 3 years. If you don't pay it back, all right, if you don't pay it back, here's another caveat. If you don't pay it back within those 3 years, they'll give you another 3 years to pay on the tax penalty. All right. They will give you another 3 years to pay on the tax penalty. So that's That's really, really powerful for you guys to understand. Also, taxpayers who take a standard deduction, you are eligible to deduct up to $300 of eligible charitable contributions in addition to the standard deduction. And this is also a permanent change. Those individuals who have student loans, well, now they're giving a benefit to employers and you. So loan payments made by employers on behalf of the employees up to $5,250, all right, for 2020 are deductible by the employer, and they're non-taxable to the employee. So you don't have to pay taxes on that as well. Also, for the individual that's paying on federal student loans, only, all right, they're suspending all of your loan payments right now. They're suspending those payments on that right now until September 30th, all right, until September 30th. So as you can see, there are a lot of individual provisions for individuals included inside of this CARE Act. So I'm gonna move on to the next one. With that being said, I want to have Hiromi hop in right now and take us through our next section and really break down some of the loan options that are available, also some of the grant money that's also available too, and really break that down so you guys can understand, and then we'll both hop on with some back and forth and we'll end it on out. All right, Hiromi, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
All right,
All
perfect.
right. So thank you so much. That's actually a really quick version of what is out there right now. This is something that is like can take 3 hours or more to try to really understand what the CARES Act is. What does that really mean for people and how it can affect everyone. Even in the CPA community, we're all like communicating with each other of like, what does this mean for us? How do like now we usually close our doors on April 15th. Not every person is, not every CPA is going to want to keep their doors open, even if the tax returns are due on July 15th. Everything has been extended at this point. And what Curtis has just gone over is just a very quick overview of some stuff that you can really take advantage of, like your retirement funds and all that. If you have any questions, there is a Q&A box on the bottom. Go ahead and put in your questions in there. If we're not able to answer it while we are presenting, we'll definitely get back to you, and we'll send out the FAQ in after this webinar. There are a lot of people here, and so I really appreciate it. All right. Do I just say next slide and you could click on the next slide, Curtis?
Yeah, we can do it that way. That's fine.
Okay. Then I have the marker here. So go ahead and to the next slide. So the first thing I really want to talk about is something that everyone gets affected by. It's the stimulus checks. How do you get it? Where do you get it? What if you were married in 2020, or what if you got married in 2019, but you've only filed your 2018 tax return? Like, what does that mean? Well, the most of the questions on here is more on like, okay, first of all, what do you get? Every taxpayer, a person, okay, every taxpayer with a social security who lives in America will get a $1,200 check, right? And by check, I mean direct deposited into your account directly using the bank account information that was on your 2018 tax return. Um, Now, what if you did not have a 2018 tax return and you only had Social Security? Well, the government, the IRS, will use the Social Security information to also direct deposit your stimulus check. Well, now what if you just didn't file 2018 tax return? Well, then consider filing 2019 tax return. We believe what we speculate is that the stimulus checks will be distributed in the next 3 weeks. You have some time to file your 2019 tax return. There's some caveats though. The $1,200 for a taxpayer will be reduced if you earn more than $75,000. Once you earn more than $99,000, you don't get anything. You need to have at least $2,500 worth of earnings in your tax return. If you have a business and you reported a loss, and you have an AGI, which is adjusted gross income of $0 or less, or anything less than $2,500 of earnings, you're not going to get a check. If you married filed separate, then you're going to be treated as if you're single. Oh, that's what I've understood. That's what I've heard. If you are married filing jointly, then they count your income together and you'll get a $2,400 combined an amount for the both of you. That's really just a 1,200 times two, and that's $2,400 for you as a couple. Each, if you have children, each dependent will get $500. Well, not to the child, but to your bank account. Okay, so $500 for each dependent. Back in 2018 tax return, if you gave birth to a child in 2019 or gave birth to a child in 2020, you can either file a tax return for 2019, and for 2020, then you're just going to have to wait until the 2020 tax return rolls around. There will be a line item there to reconcile your credit on the 2020 tax return. If the IRS notices that they underpaid you, they will pay you an extra amount for what they owe you. If they overpaid you, you don't have to pay that money back. So what that means is that if you earn more than $75,000 in 2019 and less than that in 2018, I would say hold back from filing your 2019 tax return until you see that stimulus check amount in your bank account. So something to think about. Oh, by the way, for the dependents, it's only up to 3 dependents. So if you have 4, 5, 7 children, I'm sorry, the government will only give you up to 3 checks of $500 per dependent. If you're in a head of household, if you're a single mother or single father, or you have an adopted child, you the phase out begins somewhere in between the 75,000 and the 150,000. So just be aware of that. All right. Okay, I hope that was pretty easy for that on the stimulus check. Just let us know what your questions are, and we'll do our best to try to answer them. But I'm not looking at the question box right now. I'm just taking a look here. Okay. The two biggest loans, of course, there's a lot of things going on here. The two biggest loans that is really major for a lot of self-employed and business owners is that all of a sudden, Sunday night, somewhere around 6 to 7 p.m. last week, Sunday, or this week, Sunday, the there was a bill that was signed that says that anybody who applies for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan (EIDL) can request $10,000 for a grant. It's called an Economic Injury Disaster Loan, but the first $10,000 is a grant. You do not pay it back. What happens is that you apply online at sba.gov. It's really quick. It takes 2 minutes. Only we speculate the first 1 million will get the $10,000. After that, once the money is gone, it's gone. There's $10 million on the table. It's first come, first serve. It's a quick checkbox on the application of $10,000. They promised to send it out in 3 days. I honestly don't think it's going to happen in 3 days. What we think is going to happen is that it'll probably appear in your bank account in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then that is the short version of the application. After you get your $10,000, you will get more notices requesting for more information to get the legitimate loan. The loan goes up to $2 million. It's really used to keep your business running. And if you're self-employed, let's say if you drive Uber, Lyft, or sell life insurance, this is something to consider. You are considered self-employed and you can apply for this. Even if you're not sure if you can, just go ahead and do it. You could always worry about like what documents you need to provide later. Just make sure that you're in the queue for this. And so even if your loan gets declined, what we've heard is that you'll still get the $10,000. And the reason for this is that the IRS, they're going to pay that money anyway to a lot of unemployed claims, so they might as well give it away in this manner. That's what we hear. That's the rumor for it right now. Um, and so, yeah, so $2 million, and it's also even available for those who own real estate. If you own real estate and you believe that maybe your tenants might not make the rent, you can go ahead and apply for this and get a loan for the amount that they will not be able to pay. So, yep. Next slide. The next major loan other than the EIDL is that there is this thing called the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, the EIDL, you apply for it on the Small Business Administration website, sba.gov. Here, how do you even apply for it? There's not a lot of information out there because application began today. Businesses can apply for this today, and I spoke to a bunch of banks. And this morning at 9 a.m., Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, they weren't ready at 9 a.m. They didn't even know how to pull out the application. I don't know if it's even out there yet, but I did see that Amaris Bank just released their application. Go ahead, you go to Google and you type in your bank name and put Paycheck Protection Program in Google, and then it sends you out that link, and you apply online. It's really quick. Thankfully, the bank I use, Coastal States Bank, they had their applications ready. And so at 9 a.m. when they received the notice and the templates from the IRS, I received an email from my banker, and she said, it's out, here you go, at 9:17 a.m. I filled it out, I applied. It does take some time. How does it work? The Paycheck Protection Program is really meant to cover payroll. It's really meant for you to keep your employees on the payroll. What does that mean? What if you're self-employed? Okay. If you have a business, then you can start applying on April 3rd, which is today, if the application is available in your bank. Now, if you're self-employed, the applications will be accepted on April 10th, which is next week, Friday. And this is, again, first come, first serve. The quicker you act, the faster you can get the money. And guess what? The IRS call centers are all closed. The requirement for providing true verification, usually when you apply for a loan of the prior 2 years, the lenders are not going to ask for it. What they will ask for is a payroll register of the paychecks that you've paid last year or during the same period. And if you didn't open your business last year, you didn't run payroll last year, you can use the payroll register that you ran from January 1st through February 29th, 2020. You need to show proof that you paid that payroll. And does that include contractors? Yes, if they live in the United States. International contractors do not count. You have to remove that from your payroll calculations. What I believe is that the IRS provided templates to the other banks, so that way you can calculate that appropriately. And what it is that you get the average monthly payroll times 2.5, and that's the amount of loan that you would get to keep people on your payroll. What's the great thing about this? Well, what if I were to tell you that this is not a loan, but it's more like a grant? If you can show proof at the end of the term, of the loan term, that you truly spent that money on payroll, then that loan is essentially forgivable. What does that mean? You don't have to pay that money back. You don't have to pay the Paycheck Protection Program money back to the government. And so that's what I understand. And even if you do keep it as a loan, then the interest rate is quite low. It's like 4%. All right, so next slide. I do want to mention banks are prioritizing those who are their current customers because they don't have that much money to lend out. So if you bank with Bank of America, contact Bank of America. If you call them, it might not go through. So I would definitely say check their website. Just I don't know, Google Bank of America Paycheck Protection Program. The last time I checked, they didn't really have much information out there, but I definitely know that Wells Fargo, they were admitting that they were still pending. Coastal States Bank, if you bank with them, Coastal States Bank, if you look up I don't know, Paycheck Protection Program, there is that application, and the templates are also in sba.gov, and then you should take a look and talk to your bank really what needs to be provided. But yes, you need to go directly to your bank. If you already have a 7A loan from the SBA, then you can go to that lender and ask if they provide this type of PPP loan. All right. So what's the difference between between the EIDL and the PPP? Here's the big differences. And the main question I get from everyone is that, can you apply for both? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can apply for both. The difference is that the time period is different. The EIDL is really meant for this year, and the PPP is only meant for the 2.5 months that supposedly coronavirus will be over by June 30th. We don't know. Maybe the rules will be different later on. Maximum loan is 2 million for EIDL, and here PPP, the maximum really is 2.5 times your average payroll cost for the prior year or during January and February, up to $10 million, whichever is less. Okay. Now, these funds are really meant to pay for your business to keep it running. The EIDL is basically anything that you can prove that is related to your business. The PPP is really meant for payroll, okay, mortgage interest, rent, utilities, not a lot of stuff. Okay, so I would say definitely use the PPP for things that you're supposed to use it for, like payroll, and then everything else use the EIDL. I did hear there is going to be a minimum credit score that they're going to be looking for. It's not clear what the minimum credit score is, but I believe it's 600. And so here, the EIDL, you apply directly on the SBA, and on the PPP, you apply directly to your bank. Okay. Forgiveness, EIDL, you have to pay it back, from what I understand, and in the PPP, as long as you use it for payroll, is forgivable, which is super awesome. And I believe it is tax-free income. Okay, collateral, you don't need to provide too much information really, which is pretty awesome. If you're going to get a loan from these lenders, they they won't ask for much. The EIDL, it's really self-certifying. If you lie, there's perjury, you can go to jail for that. So make sure you are accurate and you tell the truth. If you already have a tax accountant or a CPA, go ahead and ask questions to that person. But now you know me, so you can ask me questions. And if I don't know the answer, I have a CPA community that I also ask questions to. And the PPP, no, there is no collateral. It is forgivable anyway. So just make sure that if things are going through payroll, then you have support for that. I think that is it for that. All right, next slide. Okay. How do you apply for the EIDL? Super easy. Go to the sba.gov. It used to have a yellow banner at the top of the website, but I think that's been gone now. Try to find the link for this, or we could send it to you. You just go on here and you apply. It literally takes 2 minutes. All right, so next slide. Okay. Now for these here, other business provisions other than the loans, Um, Very quickly, this webinar is very short, and we have to see if there's any questions on this. But there's also tax credits. Look up, there's a new form that just came out the other day. It's called, the number is 7200. The IRS form is 7200. You can ask for a tax credit to get a credit for your paying the payroll for your employees. We're not going to dwell into that right now here, but that's why there's going to be a 2.0 webinar later on. You can also defer the employer's portion of the Social Security in hopes that would help you have more cash and be more liquid today versus later on, and then you have to pay that money back over the next 2 years. We're not really going to push for that one, deferment of employer's portion of the Social Security tax, just because you might have, since you're going to have to pay that back in the future, it might hurt you later on, since we don't know how big of an impact this coronavirus is going to be. And then the next part here is the oh yes, the net operating losses. If you have net operating losses, the new rules back in 2017 and 2018, they said that you can no longer roll back or like carry back the losses, and that it can only be moved forward. Well, they scratched that and said that, well, never mind, you can get your net operating losses and you can carry it back to previous 5 years. What does that mean? That means you're going to have to amend your prior tax returns so that way you can take advantage of those net operating losses. And then, of course, there's other things going on in here, but we don't want to dwell into that. So next. Okay. And I'll shoot it back to you, Curtis.
Wow. I hope you guys are taking notes. I hope we made that super, super simple so you guys can go ahead and get started. We were answering a few questions in the Q&A. So therefore, if you wanted to hop in there and see some of those responses, definitely on there. There are a lot of them. I expected a lot of them. So what we're also going to do is that we're going to compile all of your questions, and we're also going to shoot out an email, a follow-up email that's going to include a nice FAQ, all right, answering all your consistent questions and answering them in full as well. So don't worry. Also, now some additional ways we can also help Hiromi. She doesn't promote herself that well, but she's super, super humble. But she's actually one of the top CPAs and certified tax coaches in our entire country. I'm so thankful we actually work together. They say, hey, on your way to the top, you meet other people at the top. And so, I'm so thankful that she took out the time to make sure she can come in and break this down, and not in typical CPA, language, actual, everyday working person language, so we can actually understand and take action. So that's why I made sure to have her on here. So she can help you out. If you haven't filed your tax returns, I've spoken to her. So if you haven't filed your tax returns, she can actually help you out. Now, I will say she typically deals with business owners and self-employed individuals. But of course, if you're an individual and need somebody that's reputable and that can, speak to you constantly, consistently, also has a team working with her, you want to reach out to her. Also, if you're a business owner and you're looking to produce those loan documents, all right, you're looking to acquire your $750,000 or your $1 million for your payroll, or you're floated with 10 million. You want to make sure you get those documents together ASAP, as soon as possible. And of course, Hiromi, I'll be super, super transparent. With our business enterprises, she's gone ahead and put those things together for us. So she's also done on her end. So if you want somebody that's knowledgeable and a team that's knowledgeable, you can reach out to her for that. Also with bookkeeping and getting those finances together. Also, she has an amazing referral program, because we want to make sure that people are getting access. It's time out for bottom of the barrel, low level financial education and information. And so we want to make sure that, hey, if you know someone that needs help to navigate through this process, or somebody that needs help with their tax returns or their loan document preparation, reach out to her as well. She'll explain that referral program on that end. On my end, to help combat and support alongside myself and my team, we were actually waiving all of our fees. We were waiving all of our fees because now more than ever, us being designated as an essential business is now more important more than ever. So when it comes down to your retirement account reviews, you know, really understanding right now, what exactly do you have? All right. How is your 401k actually working with your current position in your current company? How does that work? How are your funds working and things of that nature? Also, now more than ever, people are super focused on various household items and estate preservation items, such as their important policies, their life insurance options, their directives, their document reviews. So all of those important documents, we're waiving all the fees. We can review those for you guys complimentary. Also, there are a lot of safe money options. There are alternatives to CDs and money markets. A lot of people right now are running from the market. They're running into safe money options. So we can expose those to you. Also, this is the major caveat. Now more than ever, we understand that people need a plan of action. All right, they're ready to take action, but they need a plan to take that action. And so we're waiving our fees. So we're providing complimentary financial plans for families and individuals. So if you know somebody, let them know. Let's go ahead and review everything, put everything together, make sure they're exposed to some of the best options, some avenues, so they have a plan they can actually go forward, because we're dealing with an unprecedented time. So now it's time for us to take unprecedented action. All right, unprecedented action. Also, as we wrap on up, hey, what action should you be taking from this webinar right now? What action should you be taking right now? Go ahead and review your options. Yep, we went over a few major options that are available that are produced by this CARE Act. All right. So of course, if you haven't filed your taxes, a lot of you in the Q&A right now, you're saying, hey, I haven't filed my taxes. You want to make sure you go file your taxes as soon as possible. All right. The IRS is going to use that direct deposit information on your 2018 filing or your 2019 filing. So you make sure you get that done. Also, Hiromi talked about the $10,000 grant. Yes, the money has already been allocated. So if you're a business owner on this webinar right now, if you have not submitted, please go ahead and submit. Okay. We've also posted the link in the Q&A. We'll also send it out again through email. But like I said, even if you don't get approved for the loan per se, you still get the advance for the grant. And you'll see when you go through that application, super simple. You just want to make sure you check the box. Okay. You want to make sure you check that box for the $10,000 grant. Also, right now, it's important that you talk to your financial professional. If they haven't called you, call them, please. We cannot procrastinate when it comes down to money anymore. So make sure you call up your financial professional, whoever that is. Also, talk to your tax professional. Everyone should have a tax professional. As Hiromi has discussed, as you can see, is one thing to actually read something online. It's another thing to actually understand the laws that were passed. All right. Because once you have that expertise, you know how to move. All right. I tell some people sometimes, hey, everybody can say they know how to play basketball, but can you actually ball, right? Also, want to make sure to reiterate, make sure you're going to check your email tonight, all right? Check your email tonight. We're going to send out that Stimulus 1.0 FAQ. Also, we're going to host another Your Money Stimulus 2.0. Why are we doing that? Why are we hosting 2.0? Why can't we just give everything now? Because you need to take action now. So we had to get this information to you so you can raise your level of awareness and take some action right now, because there's only so much money available. So we need you to go ahead and go. Now, also, we're hosting 2.0. Why? Because different elements, all right, of this CARE Act is being pushed out in pieces by the government. All right. They're having to actually go in and make policies and then send it out. Just like she spoke on, saying like, hey, some of the banks were like, you know what, guys, we are not ready. All right, for the loan process. We are not ready. So there's some other avenues that people are not ready on, but we want to make sure you get that information real time and then come back to you again. All right. Also, I know she mentioned as well, today was the first day for individuals to go ahead and apply for those loans. All right. Well, if you're self-employed, you're independent contractor, your date, correct me if I'm wrong, Hiromi, their date is what? Next week on the 10th, correct?
That's right, April 10th.
April 10th, if you're an independent contractor, you're self-employed, you can still apply for these loans as well that she talked about, but your date is on April 10th. So that's why we want to make sure we taking all the information again and come again next week. So you receive that date also as well. So those are some actions you can take. If you want to reach out to us with a direct personal question, here it is on the screen right here. Right now, we do have a little time to actually maybe answer some questions live. Hiromi, are you in the Q&A right now?
Yes, I'm in the Q&A.
Perfect, perfect. If you can, I guess you can take on a few of those that towards the bottom there, and then you can actually take it away on there.
Okay. Well, I do see on here it says as a follow-up, what if you do not have a pay stub? What would one get their W-2s then? Um, well, if you can't get your pay stubs from your employer, well, that's I don't know. If you can't get your W-2s, normally I would suggest looking at your pay stub. The year-to-date information in your pay stub will have the same information as in your W-2, so that way you can file your tax return. If that doesn't work, you might need to ask for an income transcript from the IRS. Let's see, there is, you can go online to the IRS.gov website and get an account with them, and you download your own information. The only problem is that when I spoke to the IRS about this, the IRS does not keep your state information on your income. If you only work in one state, which I assume maybe if you only worked in Georgia, then you can go ahead and put all of your income that you've earned federally in that one state. But then you don't really know how much you already sent to the Georgia Department of Revenue. Your best bet is to get that W-2 from your employer. Curtis, do you know how else you can get W-2s from, like other than your employer, IRS, and
Correct,
your
or whatever facilitator your particular employer is using. Say if they're using ADP, you can call them directly utilizing your login information or your social security number, and they can send that over to you. Now, I want to make sure and get some clarity as well, just in case they're saying that, hey, they don't have W-2s, that is fine. You may be 1099, all right? Or if you're your own business owner, or then you're filing on behalf of your business itself, okay? You're filing on behalf of your business itself. And you can make sure you can get with your tax accountant, or you can contact Hiromi. She can put those documents in place for you too. Also, Q&A here. Can I apply if you're doing independent contractor work? Yes, you are classified as an independent contractor. If you're receiving a 1099, okay, and you're doing anything, okay, for money that includes like you're having to pay for gas, you're doing services, you're actively self-employed and you receive a 1099, yes, all right, you are considered a independent contractor, okay? Now, also, I will say this, Hiromi, I think we maybe need to clear up for some individuals. They're getting a little confused, I believe. I'm looking at the Q&A, and by saying that, hey, what if they've applied for the COVID-19 economic disaster loan, correct? And now they're saying that, well, do I have to wait till the 10th to apply for the other one? So I think there's a little bit confused, because I think they went for the grant money, and now they need to say like, this one's the loan money. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that for them?
Well, these are two separate loans. The EIDL, if you already applied for that, that's totally fine. The PPP is the loan for April 10th for self-employed people. Go ahead and apply for that separately. Does that make sense now? Does that answer your question?
Correct, because what's going on is that with that paycheck protection, all right, that's going towards, and I'm gonna pause this really quickly here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna shoot back in our slide deck really quickly. So if this could help out as well, if you're losing the money for, you're getting a loan for the float payroll, all right, take care of mortgage interest, rent, utilities, etc. So that's something that PPP loan, all right, will take care of, okay? So that's what you're looking at. And that's why they're saying that, hey, you're going to wait to apply for this on the 10th if you're self-employed independent contractor. Okay. And like she said, though, your people have to be in the US if you pay other people as independent contractors too to help out with you and your business endeavors. Also, I will say also, just to reiterate on the W-2 question, the Department of Labor also can provide you with those stubs as well. The Department of Labor, all right, you just go on the Department of Labor website for your particular state, well, not the state, the Department of Labor, period, and they can get you that as well. So that's a caveat. Anything else? Hiromi, you want to jump in?
Trying to look through here to see if we can answer these live. Okay, let's see. If you're doing a WFG part-time, can you apply? Yes, you can. Let's see. What if we don't have an?
What if your employer has not declared you as being unemployed? He said, what if your employer has not declared you as being unemployed? All right, as they're applying for care benefits. As long as they're still paying you and you're still making money, then you're actively employed. All right. Now, if they're trying to actively go ahead and apply for care benefits, however, they've either reduced your hours due to the coronavirus, they reduce your hours, or if they've gone ahead and furloughed you, all right, if anything has ever happened to your income where it has been reduced now because of the coronavirus, you can actually still go and qualify and file for unemployment. So if they're just telling you don't file, they're required by law, they've gone ahead and furloughed you, okay? So they can still get that money and hire you back, but hopefully I answered your question on there.
Mm-hmm. And I see a question here. What if the bank account information was incorrect in 2018 tax return, and now that it's been closed? The IRS will try to send it off to that bank account, and then after they do that, they will send a letter to the last known address in their records to let you know where your money went. And with a phone, supposedly they're going to have a phone number on there that you can contact them to try to find where that stimulus check went. There is a form, I think it's 8822-B. If you haven't filed your tax return yet with your new home address, you can file an 8822-B to update your address. How quick is that going to be updated? I'm not so sure because this is a very manual process, but it's better than.
And it's unprecedented times right now. So we have time to answer a few more because I want to respect everyone's time. I want to keep this right under 45 minutes and then allow some time for Q&A, but no more than an hour. So I'm actually answering questions from the Q&A right here. But let's see another one for an EIDL. My business is seasonal and new. My gross revenues preceding. So for that question, I'm assuming that as long as your business, you were in business before the 15th, all right, of February, regardless, yes, but you still got to fill out your financial statements, all right? So you got to put out those documents, those loan documents, if you want to acquire those loans to say, hey, I need this money for payroll, I need this money for rents, things of that nature. So yes. Now, if you want to go ahead and apply for the link that we put in there for the COVID-19, all right, economic disaster loan, and possibly get the actual grant, okay, that you don't have to pay back, you need to go ahead and do that as soon as possible, though. All right, you do that as soon as possible. That was a good question.
That reminds me. The banks, when I say that banks are prioritizing customers that already bank with them, they're prioritizing customers who already bank with them, those who have a bank with them before February 15, 2020. So if you open a bank with Bank of America all of a sudden today, they're not going to prioritize you.
I throw this one to you, Hiromi. It says, hey, if they owe the IRS money right now, will their stimulus check be withheld?
I heard this question from another webinar, and from our understanding, the answer is no.
Correct. No, it would not be withheld. Okay, no, will not be withheld. This is them trying to infuse money into the economy. Okay, for you guys.
And the IRS is stopping all, like, if you have an installment agreement, they're not collecting anything. They've suspended payments and all that. If you have an automatic payment every month, you can go ahead and cancel that. But the IRS is not going to go after you. They're not going to put new liens, and they're not going to, if you have an open audit with them, they're not going to proceed at this time. They're putting a pause, and they're not going to do new audits or anything like that. But if you're
Perfect.
like a
Perfect.
multi-millionaire and stuff, they might still go after you. That's what I heard. But but
So awesome, awesome. I hope you guys, hope we gave you guys a lot of value. I hope you guys are willing to go and take action with this. Like I said, here are our email address as well. If you want to reach out to us, send us your questions. We're here as a resource. Like I said, it's unprecedented times. We want to make sure we take unprecedented action. We're also, if you put your questions in the FAQ as well, myself, Hiromi, and our teams, we're going to actually push out, all right, later on, an entire FAQ with information and also summary of what we went over today. In addition to, we want you to share this information. So yes, this webinar will be sent out to everyone that is registered for this webinar. It will be sent out to you guys as a replay. So you can run it back and replay it, or maybe share it with a family member also. So you want to do that resource to you guys. Also in our email, it will be the date, of course, for our next one, 2.0 as well. So we got to stay on this, you guys. Last question I'll answer. I keep getting it. If you receive any type of 1099, all right, you're self-employed, any type of 1099, yes, you can apply to receive the grant, but there's only so much money available. So please don't wait. Now that you got this information, please don't wait. All right. Hiromi, did you want to say anything else? Do you want to share anything?
I keep seeing this question over and over again. How do you apply for the grant? Just go in the application, you guys. Just go
Yeah.
in the application and you'll see that it's not difficult to fill out. You'll be fine. If you're a homeowner or a tenant, there's a line item on there that
Mhm.
says, like, it says, do you want the $10,000? You check box it.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's checkbox. So I'll make sure we put it in there again as well. Hold on one second. I want to
um,
put it on here again to make sure that everybody sees. If you need the link, you can go to sba.gov. All right, it's sba.gov. Or, all right, or if you're ready for it, let me know you guys ready. It is going to be https:// all right, COVID, COVID 19, the number one and the number 9. So COVID 19 relief, RELIEF .sba.gov. So once again, to apply for the COVID-19 economic disaster relief loan and grant, okay, the website is https, all right, colon, / COVID 19 relief.sba.com. So I want to give you guys that again. So that's a great question. I'm glad you guys were answering it as well. And also, Hiromi went ahead and sent you the hyperlink. So if you're looking in the chat right now, you can see the hyperlink right there, and you can hop on it. That is all the time that we have. We want to make sure we're short, to the point, impactful, understandable. I hope you guys benefited from this. I look forward to make sure everyone stays safe and helping as many people as possible. Now more than ever, you just come together. All right. So that being said, thank you all. I see you all at the top. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.